Hello everybody, it is January 1st, 2024, and I am filming a favorite 5-star reads of 2023. I have my list right here, so if you see me looking slightly to my right, which I guess is your left, you might see me looking that way. I read 48 books this year, and I'm so happy because I have some very good recommendations. I just got back from Charleston today, and I feel like everyone else has already posted their 2023 best reads, so I wanted to hop on the bandwagon, but I was literally reading until like almost midnight last night, so I didn't want to make the video when I was still finishing books. These are just the 5-star reads of 2023. I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna do fiction, I think. Maybe at the end I'll do my nonfiction faves. Number 1, I read this book last January, Rock, Paper, Scissors. It's very good. It's a thriller. It's about this couple that goes to stay in a church that's kind of like an Airbnb type of situation. It doesn't say Airbnb. The husband is a workaholic that has face blindness, and he can't recognize his own wife. And then they're trying to plan a weekend away to Scotland. It might be just what their marriage needs. This weekend may make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. I'm trying to remember. So this couple goes to Scotland, and they're staying at this like old church, and there isn't really like good service there, and then spooky things start happening. It was a very quick read. It's very short. I read it like literally in one day, I think. And it goes back and forth between the husband and wife. So as you're like in different perspectives, you're kind of like, oh, I see their point of view. I see this point of view. A little bit of a thriller mystery here. Book number 2 is Hidden Pictures. This book was my first book club book, and it was very unique. It's about a woman she's like in her 20s, and she goes to babysit this kid, and the babysitter kind of has a history of doing drugs and different things, so she's just like, she doesn't really trust her memory completely. Weird stuff starts happening, so she starts questioning herself, questioning the child she's babysitting, and then trying to tell the parents, like, I think this paranormal activity is happening. I think someone has died in your house, like different stuff like that, and the parents aren't believing them. And so you just go through the whole book trying to figure out what's going on. There's like pictures throughout the book that the child's drawing. I don't want to I feel like I'm really bad at giving book synopsises because I don't want to give anything away, and I can't remember if what I'm saying is going to give an important part away. So I'm trying not to give anything away, but trying to give a good summary and not leave out anything. So I'm sorry if I suck at this, but my cat opens doors now. The Impossible Fortress. I love Hidden Pictures so much that I picked up the next book that the author had written, and I think that this was his first book and Hidden Pictures was second. It's about kids in the 80s, and it's like a group of boys that are friends, and then one of the boys specifically kind of starts hanging out with this girl, and they start working on a project together to make a video game, and it's very cute because it's like the beginning of the computer age. And in the book, at the end they create a game, and then you can go online and actually play the game, which is really cool. And I love books that are in the perspective of little kids, or have little kids in it, because it's just really cute and funny. And then each chapter has this code written out, which is pretty cool. But I loved this book. Also a very quick read. Then easy. Then I started the Throne of Glass series, which I've talked about a lot on this channel because I'm still in the middle of finishing up the series, but I started the series in like April, and then I kind of started reading books in between and around the series, so that's why it's taken me like so long to finish it. But I just wanted to shout it out because the first two books for sure were my favorite. I read The Assassin's Blade first, and it's five prequel novellas inside of one. The author wrote it after she wrote the rest of the book, so her writing is like really good, and it was just very interesting. I loved all the little short stories, and then I loved like the first few books of the series the best, I think. So those I gave 5 stars, and then the middle ones, I think I've kind of given them, they're so long it's hard to rate them, but like 4 to 5 stars. Okay, so then the next book, I read it through my library, Mary Jane, and this book was literally like the cutest book. It's actually another babysitter type of story. I guess I just love kid babysitter stories or something, because this book is about a girl who is babysitting a child, and the babysitter's family is very strict, but then she goes to babysit this kid whose family is not strict at all. They're like very cool, and it's in the hippie age, so I guess like the 70s, and they're doing all the fun stuff. They're like not wearing bras, they're putting wigs on, they're dressing like groovy, and the babysitter is just shocked by how this other family acts and behaves, and she falls in love with this little girl. Not actually in love, but like she loves the girl she babysits. They're like sisters. So it's just very cute, and the way the little girl talks and the author writes about the little girl just made me laugh so much, because just the way the little girl sees life is so funny. I loved that book so much. Next, I read a book that my patient gave me, so it's very special to me, Lessons in Chemistry. I tabbed it so many places. It just has so many good quotes. It's totally different than what it looks like. I feel like I've seen the cover around for a while, and I don't think the cover really matches like what the book is about. At first, I honestly thought it was nonfiction. It's definitely fiction. It was just funny because I was talking to my patient. We were like debating. I was like, I think it's like nonfiction, and she's like, no, it's fiction. And I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, well, the dog does talk, so it's about a scientist, a female scientist. I think it starts 1960s, female scientist who has to deal with so much, because that's just like obviously not a time when females could really be independent and do things on their own. And she like goes from being a scientist to ends up being on a cooking show, and she's like a single mother, and the way that she just like talks on the show makes everyone confused, because she's teaching with a lot of chemistry on a cooking show, which makes things very interesting. I took a lot of chemistry classes in college, so I also thought it was really cool because I kind of recognize some of the references. Yeah, I love this book so much. I love the science. I love the female lead. I loved the dog. I loved the show. Just books that are like funny and they have meaning are my favorite kind of books, honestly. So A+ for this one, 5 stars, very beautiful book. I have it tabbed in so many places, and it means a lot to me, so I would definitely recommend that book. Let me know if you read it. My next book, I don't have a physical copy of it, but it's Fourth Wing. I read this book, and I'd been seeing it on Amazon's top list for a while, but I didn't really think I'd be interested in it because I tried Red Rising and I did not like that at all. I tried Fourth Wing a month later. Amazing, like one of the best books I've ever read. It's about a girl who's going to, I don't really know, I guess it's like dragon school or something, and she gets a bond with her dragon, and she has like there's a romance going on, and the romance is like good. Like some romances really cringe me out. This one was like, I love like the main character and her mans, and then her and her dragon, and they talk to each other. Having the dragon's point of view and stuff is just like really cool. I don't know, I read it so quick. I don't even just read the book. It's so good. Fourth Wing is amazing. Just the books that you don't want to put down and you're so like immersed in the characters' worlds and everything is just like, and it's like makes you laugh and makes you sad and makes you happy. Like, oh, so good. I only have one more book left. The only one left. I have a signed copy. And I read this book in the fall. It was so good. It's about a girl who's a caregiver, and she goes to the mansion to care for this older lady who supposedly is like a mass murderer. And she doesn't really think or thinks that the mass murderer actually did it. So she's kind of trying to solve the mystery while she's there living in the mansion, and scary stuff is happening. And it was very cool. I loved the caregiver aspect, and just I read this book so quick too, and it was like, I think it's probably almost 400 pages. When a book is good, you can just read through it. I didn't specifically like the ending, was kind of like I didn't like how it all tied together, but still 5-star for me. Okay, I forgot this book because I just finished it a few days ago. The Great Undoing of Daisy Hates. I actually did really like this book. A series from Magnolia Park series, and the girl is trying to be a doctor, but her brother is like a portrait stealer and like a cult leader and does a lot of crazy things. So she's kind of trying to battle this life of wanting to be normal, but she can't. And she's like trying to date guys. She has a bodyguard, and it's just very like, the way the author writes makes everything seem very real life. I just found it very interesting, and the best book so far in the series for sure. This is the 4th one. Yeah, gave that 5 stars. So those are all my favorite fictional reads of 2023. I gave them all 5-star, and then a quick mention to these 2 nonfiction books I really loved. Attached, The New Science of Adult Attachment, is about learning about your attachment style and how it can affect you in your friendships and love life. Fighting Forward is a Christian book about a woman, and she lives in Atlanta, and she just talks about going through the daily life and trying to continue forward through times that are hard. And it was just very motivating to kind of like get through different situations and seeing the bright side of things. So that book's by Hannah Breacher, I want to say, but I love that author. Those were my favorite nonfiction books of 2023 for sure. I hope you pick up one of my favorite books, because all these are so good, and please let me know if you do read any of them, because they are amazing. And I hope you guys have an amazing 2024. Let me know your favorite book of 2023 if you have one or multiple in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.